Test. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We're going to start this regular meeting of Board of Trustees for Venus Independent School District. It's January 18th, 2022 at 7 p.m. And looks like we're all here. Got a quorum. And if everybody could please stand for the invocation. Joe, can you lead us?
Gracious Heavenly Father, as we come before you tonight, Lord, we just give you thanks that we have this opportunity to serve you, Lord. Lord, we just ask you to be with us tonight as we make those decisions. Lord, we ask you to be with each member of this board, each elected official here in Venus, whether it be on the school board or city council, as they make decisions that affect this whole community. Lord, we ask you to be with those kids that are attending. Lord, we ask your blessings. Lord, we ask you to forgive us when we fail you. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Okay, you be so kind, Lisa, in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. I want to welcome all our guests here tonight. Thank y'all for coming. Mayor, council, thank you. We'll go to item number 4, presentation of proclamation by Mayor Burgess, City of Venus, honoring Venus ISD Board of Trustees. Mayor, you want to?
This is School Board Appreciation Month, Venus Independent School District. Whereas the mission of the public school is to meet the diverse education needs of all children and to empower them to become complete, productive, and contribute to a democratic society and an ever-changing world. And whereas local school board members are committed to children and believe that all children can be successful learners and that the best education is tailored to the individual needs of the children, and whereas local school board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create the education vision that we want for our students, and whereas local school board members are responsible for ensuring the structure that provides a solid foundation for our school system, and whereas local school board members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public expectations to the district. Therefore, I, James Burgess, do hereby declare my appreciation to the members of the Venus School Board and proclaim January 2022 as School Board Recognition Month in Venus, Texas. I urge all citizens to join me in recognizing the dedication and hard work of local school board members and working with them to mold our education system to meet the needs of both today's and tomorrow's children. And as the mayor and the school and the city council to their school board, we appreciate all y'all do for the city of Venus and for the school district.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. That was great, thank you. All right, we're gonna go to item number 5, did I miss anything? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're right, number 5.
Okay. Presentation of accommodation to the Venus High School students, Ms. Faruska, Ms. Flores, Ms. Mata, by the City of Venus and the Venus Police Department.
All right. Ladies, would y'all mind coming up here? And Ms. Woodworth, would you stand, please, ladies? And I will come down here as well. Okay. All right, girls, y'all are a big deal, all right?
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're a big deal, is you get to come up here like this. All right, I'm gonna come over here so we can kind of slide around. All right, and I'm gonna need a very important piece of equipment right
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Well, I'm gonna read this, I'm very proud of these young ladies, just for being who they are. But being who they are made a big difference in our community, because of decisions that they made. So I'm gonna read directly from this. This is from Chief Groom, or to Chief Groom, from Lieutenant Gordon of the Venus Police Department. It says, I'm writing this missive to recognize 3 students that currently attend school at Venus Independent School District. On January 1st, 2022, around 1600 hours, that's police talk, Arceli Manta, Frida Faruska, and Gabriela Flores were traveling in a vehicle on FM 157 in Venus and observed a small child wearing a t-shirt, pants, and no shoes. Mata, Faruska, and Gabriela also noticed that the weather had changed and it was starting to get very cold outside. The 3 stopped and asked the child if he needed help and wanted to go to the police department, to which he said yes. Once they had the child safely loaded in the vehicle, Ms. Mata called Johnson County Dispatch and advised them of the situation. Ms. Mata then advised dispatch that she would meet an officer at the Venus Fire Department. Officer Jay Halstead took possession of the child, conducted an investigation, and safely returned him to his guardians. I spoke with Officer Jay Halstead that afternoon, and he advised me on what a great job these 3 students did and recommended them for this commendation. Would like to commend these 3 students on a job well done, and we would also like to present them with a police department challenge coin. We have that challenge coin? Chief is on his way. Are we?
But I do have the city coin that I'd like to give each one of you.
Thank you.
From the City of Venus.
Thank you.
It's Gabriela.
Okay, thank you.
And we have Frida. And we have also Miss Matak, all right? We're very proud of you ladies. I'm very proud of you for seeing something. And what happens in a community is people see something that needs to be changed and they act upon it. And because of that, our community got safer and got better. So we really appreciate you ladies for taking that initiative. And so let's honor these young ladies. Did we?
I'll give you one of mine.
You have your own.
I know these 3 girls and they do a great job and I appreciate y'all.
Super, super. Could we get a picture? Do we need to squeeze it? I'll tell you what, young ladies, girls, why don't you get up front here?
Yeah, I'm calling that, they can see me, I'll be on.
There we go. There we go. We didn't do anything, we just like taking pictures.
That's right.
1, 2, 3.
All right. Again, let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you, ladies. Mayor, council, thank you again. If anybody wants to leave at this point, you're welcome to go. So thank you.
But you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to, you can.
Like, no, we're done.
All right. Okay, well, let's, that was great. Let me see here. All right, so we're gonna move on to item number 6, presentation of Lone Star Governance Quarterly Progress Trackers. And we got Vision and Goals 1. And is that,
You ready? Okay.
you ready? Okay.
Vision and Goals 1, the board works collaboratively with the superintendent to develop the vision and student outcome goals. Team members Tasha Gore and Greg Hoffman. Quarterly progress, last reported October 18th, 2021. Previous quarter, meet focus 12. Current status, meet focus 12. Next quarter target is master's focus 15. Vision and Goals 2, the board has adopted goal progress measures, GPMs aligned to each student. Team members Tasha Gore and Greg Hoffman. Quarterly progress, last reported October 18th, 2021. Previous quarter, meet focus 12. Current status, meet focus 12. Next quarter target, master's focus 15.
Vision and Goals 3, the board has adopted a vision for what student outcomes will be and has adopted constraints aligned with that vision. Team members Tasha Gore and Katie Drombarenu. Quarterly progress as of October 18, 2021. Previous quarter, meet focus 9. Current status, meet focus 9. The next quarter is master's focus 10 points. Vision and Goals 4, the board has adopted constraint progress measures, CPMs, aligned to each constraint. Team members Tasha Gore and Katie Drombarenu. Quarterly progress, last reported October 18, 2021. Previous quarter, meet focus 4. Current status, meet focus 4. Next quarter target, master's focus 5. Progress and accountability 1. The board invests at least half of its time focusing on its vision and student outcome goals. Team members are Gerald Leonard, Katie Drombarenu, and Joe Russell. Quarterly progress, last reported October 18, 2021. Previous quarter, meet focus 15. Current status, master's focus 12, with 49% of current total minutes. Next quarter target, master's focus 15. Progress and accountability 2. The board measures and communicates, but does not interfere in, progress toward the vision and student outcome goals. Team members are Gerald Leonard, Katie Drombarenu, and Joe Russell. Quarterly progress, last reported October 18th, 2021. Previous quarter, master's focus 5 points. Current status, master's focus 5. Next quarter target is to maintain master's focus with 5.
Systems and process. The board operates in a way to allow the superintendent to accomplish the vision. Team members, Joe Les Owens and Joe Russell. Quarterly progress, last reported October 18, 2021. Previous quarter, meet focus 12. Current status, meets focus 12. Next quarter target, master focus 15.
Advocacy and engagement. The board promotes the vision. Team members Les Owens, Chad Sutton. Quarterly progress, last reported October 18, 2021. Previous quarter, preparing to focus 3. Current status, approaches focus 3. Next quarter, meets focus 9. Next is synergy and teamwork. The board works collaboratively, I can't even say that, I don't know why, with the superintendent to lead toward the vision. Team members Greg Hoffman, Gerald Leonard, Chad Sutton. Quarterly progress, last reported October 18th, 2021. Previous quarter, meets master's focus 10. Current status, master's focus 10. Next quarter target, master's focus 10. And I believe that is all that's on the quarterly progress tracker, so that will be the unless I missed anything else. That was it? That's it, okay. So we'll have to, I believe all of us will have to sign this tracker after the meeting. I don't want to forget. Okay, so moving on to item number 7, presentation of campus reports and recognition. We have any on that one?
We're gonna do our recognition next month.
Next, okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, so,
Do we need to make a motion to table?
no, it's just a presentation, so. All right, so we're gonna go to item number 8, opportunity for public comment. I don't believe anybody signed up. And now we'll go to item number 9, presentation of student growth performance update. Dr. Anne-Marie Morgan to present.
Okay, there we go. All right, so this month we have completed our middle of year testing for our MAP growth assessment for kindergarten through 8th grade. High school was going to finish up last week, so they'll be finishing up this week. So for kindergarten through 8th grades, we have the middle of year update on their reading and math growth. Student outcome goal number 1 is to increase the number of students who meet expectations on STAR reading, specifically in 3rd grade, but we're going to take a look at all grades. And so what you have on the graph is just a quick look at, based on their MAP testing, it gives us a projection of how they are likely to do on the end of year STAR test, based on how they performed on the MAP. So this first graph is reading. So you can see the graph on the left is when they took the test in August, and then the graph on the right is they took the test at the end of December, which in the system is winter 2022. So in reading, we have we really have no gains. There's really no movement. You can see a slight increase in those students who are projected to master the STAR reading test. Unfortunately, those are students who were already projected to meet the STAR test. So that's good. So there are a handful of students who are increasing their reading skills. But what we really want to see is that red chunk get smaller on both sides, so that the yellow is getting bigger on the right-hand side, because we want to move more kids to hitting the passing standard, which is what the state refers to as approaches. So right now, that's the situation with reading. And so if you go down to the next graph, this then shows us the growth. So we set our progress measures. What we wanted to see was that students would be exceeding their expected growth on that MAP reading test from term to term. So this, you can see each campus, VPS, elementary, and then middle school. And we have each campus right at about 50% of the students meeting their expected growth, which is short of our goal, but according to NWEA's research, that is expected. So according to their research, one can expect that about 50% of students will meet their expected growth. So on the one hand, you could say we're right where we should be. On the other hand, we need to be moving students at an accelerated pace, so we have to beat that, if that makes sense. So we are falling short of our goal, but we are making growth. So that is the situation in reading. And if you continue scrolling down, you can see just campus by campus, so you can see individual grade levels.
the percentage of students who met or exceeded their expected growth from beginning of year to middle of year. So primary school, and this is all reading, first grade compared to first grade bilingual. And so Ms. Roden and I have talked about this, and I know Ms. Roden has talked with Ms. Ortiz about what might be a concern with that particular group of students. Those are first grade was the students who missed the last few weeks of pre-K during the closures. And then she also did tell me that particular class had a higher number of students in online school last year than compared to our average. And then the students who were on campus also had a teacher who was out due to illness for several weeks. So that particular group of students has some big gaps in their instruction. So it's not a surprise to us, but it is something that we are paying attention to when we see something that's different. If you scroll down to elementary, you can kind of see the same thing. Most grade levels are at about or above 50%. Second grade bilingual is doing some pretty extraordinary things. So we were paying attention to what are those teachers doing? How are they working with their students to maximize growth in their classes? And on the same hand, looking at third grade to see what might be needs of those students, what might be needs of those teachers to see how we can better support them. And then going down to middle school, you can scroll down to the next page, please. Thank you. So we have the same thing. We have sixth grade and eighth grade at about that 50% mark. And then we see seventh grade is lagging behind. So again, that raises a flag of concern that we want to take a look at that grade level in particular. What's going on with those students? What support do we need to give the teachers? And that is the grade level that didn't have a smooth transition into middle school. They left school at the end of fifth grade, and their sixth grade year was very much in and out, back and forth, lots of changes. And so they are a group that is still adjusting to middle school. Okay, and then if you want to scroll down a little bit more, now we see the math progress. And so in math, we actually have, we do see a bit of improvement, which is really exciting to see. So, when we're looking at 1,200 students, 1 or 2% doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a good number of students when we're talking about 1,200. So we can see that we have from fall to winter, you can see that red margin got just a smidge smaller, which is great. So we went down about almost 2% in not meeting, which means we increased the number of students who are in that approaches category. And so that is definitely partly due to the work of Mrs. Wijden Haddad, who is our math curriculum coordinator. And she works tirelessly to make sure that every grade level is where they need to be as far as instruction with what they're teaching. And so she's really working to bring the whole math department into alignment, which is really great. Okay, and then if we scroll down to, again, we can just see campus by campus. Again, that 50% mark is kind of our target as far as what should be happening, and we can see all 3 campuses are above that, which is really exciting, and elementary close to almost 60% meeting their growth goals for this first term. So that's really good. And then we can scroll down, we can look just campus by campus. So here again, kindergarten and first grade, both above that 50% mark. So there's no red flags there. We just need to pay attention to make sure what's happening with each child. What is each teacher doing for each child? And then same thing in at the elementary school. If you want to scroll down just a little bit, we can see the elementary. Again, all at or above the 50%. So whereas third grade reading seemed to be a bit of a concern, in math you can see that they're making growth in math, which is really good. And then we can scroll down and see the middle school. And so again, we see 6th grade and 8th grade. You can see 8th grade is making tremendous growth, which is really exciting because we want them ready for Algebra 1 next year for sure. And then 7th grade, again, that raises just a flag of concern. What's going on with that group of students, and how can we support the teachers to make sure that they're meeting the needs of the students there? And so I just wanted to also open up the floor to the principals. If any of you wanted to share in like a specific strategy or support that's happening on each campus to support student growth.
I'll stand up. Oh, or you'll bring it to me. That works too. Is it on? Okay. So anyway, we just, in December, we had our retest for our STAR exams. And just today, I got the results of the English 1 and English 2. And there were some really promising things with the English 1. I've just done a quick analysis because I just got them today. But basically, 58 students took the English 1 retest, and 17 either made approaches or meets, which is great. It's a 29% pass rate, which of course is not as high as we would like, but when you analyze the others, when you analyze growth, because I looked at all of those, and looked at the scores, and we have 62% of students making significant growth to the tune of about 250 to 300 points per student growth as a result of our Bulldog Plus remediation. So we have groups of 10 or less working with the teacher on writing and English strategies. And so I think, it's promising, it's paying off. We're not where we should be, but we are growing, and that's what we like to see.
All right. I would say one thing that we don't necessarily see in the reading data here is that our Tier 3 kids are in the Read 180, and they have seen huge gains. Where they were isn't, even with huge gains, they didn't get into that meets or, approaches, but they are showing huge gains, huge gains with our Tier 3 kids, with the Read 180 program. And then I would say the same thing with the Bulldog Plus. We do it a little bit differently, but we do 2 days of math and 2 days of reading, and they're working hard in those classes. So.
So I do have to say we're super excited that we had growth across the whole campus. Every grade level and every test we made gains. Our second grade classes, as you can see, made the most growth. But what we really thought would hit us the hardest, which was also talked about at the assessment conference we went to, was math. And so the fact that we were able to grow so much in math just in that one semester, our teachers were ecstatic. I mean, like literally jumping up and down, so excited that their kids had made so much growth. I think that's in part to our school-wide intervention time that we have in the morning, because if students don't need intervention, they go out to what we call our clubs in the morning, and some teachers only have 1 or 2 kids for a 30-minute block, and they focus just on the gaps that those students need. Now, in clubs, we have 120 to 150 kids that we're taking care of with our auxiliary staff, but that time that is devoted just to 5 to 8 to maybe just 2 students for 30 minutes 4 days a week has made a huge difference. And we had started that before we left for COVID, and then last year we weren't able to run that program because all the kids, we didn't want them switching. So we went back to that model, and that's made a huge difference. We also have had, we had a third grader that came to us, and I shared this with them when our scores came in, but he came to us very low from another district, had been in intervention, had been sent to RTI, nothing had worked, and he gained 63 points in a semester on his reading score. And that was due to the work of the teacher, because he was getting small group intervention in the morning, and then he was being pulled out for intervention also. So what they're doing is working, and so that was great validation for them. So we have changed up a little bit of our groups based on our MAP scores, because we want the data to drive our instruction. So the teachers have changed their group stuff. They switched kids. They've even switched kids not just with their partner teacher, but down the hallway. And so we're hoping to see more growth, and hoping to see really a lot of growth that will, when we take our release STAR in March or February, I don't remember what the exact date is, but we're hoping to see the correlation between our MAP and the release STAR data. So we're really excited.
Can I share one more thing? I do want to share one more thing. One of the young ladies who was honored here tonight, a senior, she has been trying to pass that English 1 star for years, and with the supports we were able to get her, she got through this time. So
Are there any questions at all?
I don't have any questions, but I do want to say thank you again for Friday, and thank you, Karen, for Saturday for attending that Lone Star Governance with us. And I know it was exciting to learn about all that we have to go through for this Lone Star Governance, and it was enjoyable to have you guys come along and see what all we have to do. Kind of better understand what work y'all are doing to help us. So, because again, it's all about the student outcomes, and like I said, absolutely. And
Happy to be there. Thank
yeah,
you.
and like I said, we're just looking forward to, I hear, growth, and we will just continue to see continuous improvement. I think that's the right way to go. So thank y'all. All righty. Well, going on to item number 10, presentation by Hankins, East Up, Deaton, Ton, and Say, and consider approval of annual financial audit. Golly, that was I messed that one all up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Thank you, Mr. Deaton.
Thanks, sir.
That one? Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Tropper, members of the board. These are the audited financial statements for this last fiscal year ending August 31st. I think you might have gotten an electronic copy. Hopefully, so you had a chance to look at it. I just want to hit the highlights and see if you have any questions. Beginning on page 22, page 22 shows the activity of the two major funds. The left column being the excuse me, the general fund. Follow that column to the bottom. You'll see the fund balance increased from 7 million to 9.4 million, 9,453,000 from beginning to the end of the year. If you recall, the fund balance had decreased in the previous year, primarily due to the purchase of the land. Significant capital outlay. There was no such significant capital outlay this year, and because also of the fact that COVID funds picked up some of the expenditures, you had a pretty healthy increase in fund balance. That 9,453,000 equates to about 4.5 months of last year's expenditures. So, you're comfortably above the 3 months reserve that I think you need to always have on hand. So the general fund is basically recovered the drop that it took from the land purchase the previous year. Next to that, the debt service fund. Of course, it collects the INS portion of your property taxes, pays your bonded debt. You also had a bond refunding during this last fiscal year, which are the larger numbers running through the bottom of that column. Bottom line, because of a good collection year tax-wise, in part, increase in fund balance of 294,000 up to an ending balance of $787,000, which is about 3 months of what you spent on debt service payments last year in that fund. So those are the two major funds because they're by far the largest in the funds in the district. But if you turn back to page 74, you'll see there's basically 4 more pages of additional funds, primarily what are called special revenue funds. These are basically funds that are earmarked the minute they come in the door. They're already normally restricted for a particular purpose, so they're accounted for in a separate fund. Number one, because they don't have to be budgeted, so you don't need them intermingled in your general fund. but also so that you can track the specific use of them and make sure that it was all spent for the purposes they were given. So on page 74, Fund 240, food service. Now that is one fund you're required to budget, but you see bottom line, that fund about broke even this last year, $4,000 profit, ending fund balance $253,000. And if you recall, this is the fund that has a cap or a limit on the fund balance it can have. Basically, 3 months worth of spending is the cap. 3 months of spending in this fund is about $325,000. And so you're about $75,000 below that limit, which gives you a little bit of cushion because Tina usually seems to make a profit in this fund. And at times has had to spend money to stay below the 3 months. Year before last, when COVID hit, that fund took a hit like every food service fund in the state, and that gave her a little cushion a year ago, and that cushion is still there. So it can absorb some more profit if it indeed happens. On page 75, there are 3 new funds, all COVID money related. They're the last 3. The Fund 277, called the CARES Fund, the 281, the ESSER 2, the 282, the ESSER 3 funds. And of course, especially in the ESSER 2 and the ESSER 3, those are dollars that COVID money covered, expenditures that it ended up not needing to be reported in the general fund. So that helped out the general fund. And those those funds have more money to be spent this year as well. The only other new fund is on page 77, the blended learning grant that the district received this last year is that Fund 480 on page 77. What's shown here is basically the only portion of it that was spent this last year. It's about another $100,000 of that grant to be spent here in fiscal year 22. The rest of the funds are all the normal title funds and special ed funds and others that the district normally receives. You'll also note on page 77, the Capital Projects Fund basically got closed out. You know, that's the fund that accounted for the large bond issue of a few years ago that paid for the renovations that took place over the last 3-4 years in basically, I think, probably all the campuses. Everything that you said you were going to do with those funds, you were able to do, and there was $53,000 left over that was transferred into the general fund to close that out. So that's basically the funds of the district. All of them seem to be in really good shape at August 31st. Just a few other things I want to point out. I mentioned a good tax collection year. Page 81 is what shows that. And amazingly, I've run across this in several districts I audit to where even with COVID, and you would think a lot of families are hurting, property tax collections were really good this last year. Page 81 shows in that left column $688,000 of delinquent taxes at the beginning of this last year. The right column says you ended with $663,000. And the adjustments column tells you that very little of that was write-offs or adjustments due to, protests by taxpayers of their valuations. So actually a lower balance at the end of the year than at the beginning of the year. And then just to remind you, at the very back of the report are several pages that lead up to page 93 that is called the Federal Awards or Single Audit section. And it's basically additional compliance work that's required to be done in the audit by us because you as a district received more than $750,000 in federal funds. Even before COVID, you were receiving that level a year or more, primarily because of food service, because so many of the students qualified for free and reduced lunch, a lot of federal money always coming into that fund. But pages 93 and 94, leading to the bottom of 95, tell you that there was almost $2.6 million of federal money that the district received this last year, which again helps cover costs, pay for things that the general fund doesn't have to pick up. So some of the programs are at times probably a pain to comply with, but normally it's worth it to be able to have money to pay for things that are needed. But the program, in fact, the only large federal program you have is food service. It's the one that I am required to do compliance work on each year, and ran across no non-compliance issues this last year. And that's basically what this section discloses as well. All right, and the last thing I want to point out, in the very middle of the report, on page 42, in the middle of the report has 25, 30 pages of just detail, various disclosures. The bottom half of page 42 is the detail leading to totals for all of the district's long-term debt. So just to remind you what you have as a district in long-term debt total, in that right column says you came into last year with $37 million of bonded indebtedness, ended the year with $35.9 million. What the bond refunding did is basically save you future interest. That's the reason those are done. The very middle of page 43 is what describes the details of the bond refunding that took place this last year, and discloses that just that refunding alone, you're going to save $830,000 of future interest because of the new bonds being able to be issued at a lower rate. So anytime your advisors suggest you do a bond refunding, you have capability of doing that, it's always worth doing it. You don't see the benefit immediately, but you for sure will see it down the road. Okay, that's basically the highlights I wanted to hit. If any of you have any questions about anything, I'd be happy to try to answer them. I thought the transition this last year from Michelle to Megan seemed, from my standpoint, went well. I know Michelle was still involved in things, helping out. We ended up doing the Everman audit this year, so we got to see Michelle over there still. But yeah, I think the transition in the finance area from our standpoint seemed to go smooth, and the audit was not complicated because of that change any more than it is normally. So anything I can answer, be happy to try to.
Anybody have anything? No? Well, I appreciate you. And,
Okay.
I don't have any
Very
questions.
welcome. And of course, Megan, I need a signed board certificate back. 9 days from now is the due date for
Okay.
this to be filed with the TEA. So as long as I get it sometime this week, we'll be in good shape.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 11, presentation of emergency connectivity fund grant through E-rate. Mr. Domain?
We have to approve 10.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. Hold on one second. Let me go back to number 10. I apologize. I have a motion to approve the annual financial audit. I got a motion by Les.
I'll second.
Second by Joe. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Did you get that? I apologize.
Yeah, I got it.
I don't know why I was focused just on,
It's because our lines
Presentation.
were missing.
that's what it is. The most important thing, to prove the audit, how can you mess that up? All right. Mr. Domain, item number 11, thank you.
Okay, so does everybody know what E-rate is? Is that a yes or
That's
no?
it's a good rate?
Okay. E-rate is a federal program that is used for connectivity, technology connectivity, internet connectivity. There's two categories, category 1, category 2. Category 1 covers stuff like internet, phone, stuff like that. Category 2 covers internal connections, switches, routers, stuff like that. Well, when COVID hit, E-rate, or the governing body of that, FCC, and a division of FCC called USAC, they decided to release a program called the Emergency Connectivity Fund to help aid in enhancing educational experience for students. When I first inquired about this, they told us that we would not qualify. They closed the window. They decided to reopen it because there wasn't a whole lot of people that applied. When it reopened, I re-inquired. I said, hey, this is what we would like to do. Do we qualify? Yes, you qualify. I don't know why they told you that before, so I applied, thinking, what's the worst they can say is no. So we applied, and we got $362,000 in funding. What that covers is 1,000 Chromebooks for the district. We've got quite a few of them that are going out at the end of 2022. This will cover those, plus a whole bunch more. So it will also cover some of the growth that we're experiencing in our district. One of the stipulations of this grant, for lack of a better term, was that it had to be used for students that would take them home. So they have to be used for high school and middle school, because elementary doesn't take them home. Because we used our own funds to buy the high schools, what we're doing is we're putting the majority of those at the high school, moving those touchscreen ones down to the younger kiddos at elementary, because they are still trying to transition and learning that manual dexterity from what they have at primary school up into elementary. So I've met with all three of these principals here and talked to them about it, and they all agreed that that was a great idea. So we're going to do some switching around, but that's going to give us 1,000 Chromebooks, $362,000. Can't look a gift horse in the mouth. So just wanted to give you all a little bit of good news with all the COVID bad news.
Wow. That's good news.
Anybody have any questions?
Do the seniors, when they graduate, do they still take the Chromebooks?
No, they do not. Not anymore.
What will happen to all the Chromebooks? We're sending some down, these young ones. What will happen to all the ones they're using now?
The ones that they're using now will be sent down to the younger kiddos. That there's a lot of Chromebooks that are going to be going out of, not a lot, not as many as we're getting. There's some Chromebooks that are going to be going out of date when June of 2022 hits, which is coming up. So those will actually have to be e-recycled. We have to get rid of those because they won't be supported by Google anymore. They won't get updates. That becomes a cybersecurity risk. We can't have that in our network. So those will be gotten rid of. Like I said, the ones that we're getting from the ECF funds, the Emergency Connectivity Funds, are going to go to high school. The majority of them are going to high school. Some of them are going to be going to middle school. And we're just kind of moving some stuff around. The ones that are at high school right now will go to elementary. Some of the ones that are elementary are going to move up to middle school because they're not touch screens. They don't need touch screens at middle school. So we're just kind of shifting some things around. And we'll have a good number of spares to be able to handle growth and to also handle things like damages until we can get them repaired, and they'll kind of be able to cycle through.
So do we still do wasn't there like a deposit or something do we still do that? Does that still happen?
We're not allowed to do that by law. We're not allowed to do that anymore.
Oh, okay.
We are allowed to charge for, according to our mobile device agreement form, we're allowed to charge for accidental damages and vandalism and complete loss. And that's something that we approve every year. That'll probably happen next month or March.
So what happens to that money for the students that no longer get to take those Chromebooks when they graduate, that paid that money? What happens to that?
We're not charging that anymore. Yeah. We don't charge them.
But the ones that did get charged,
The
now it's
last ones
phased
that
out.
went out they already took theirs.
Okay.
Daniel, I just wanted to say, I appreciate you taking the initiative to go out for this grant and net our district $362,000. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, item number 12, consent agenda. Anybody back to make a motion to approve the consent agenda? I got a motion by Gerald. Got a second by Tasha. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, item number 13, consider approval of order of elections for May 7th, 2022, general election, and notice of election for May 7th, 2022, general election. I just said here, presenter, Mr. Hopper, I'm like, go ahead.
Basically, it's just the order of election that we have each year. So it's got the dates and applicable places for voting.
Okay. So, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Tasha, second by Gerald. All in favor? Oh, motion carries. All right, consider approval, number 14, I'm sorry. Consider approval of joint election agreement between City of Venus, Texas and Venus ISD general election to be conducted on May 7th, 2022. Is there anything that we needed that's on that one? Okay. I have a motion to approve. I got a motion by Katie,
I'll second.
second by Joe. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay. Item number 15. We're gonna table this one. So if I could, I'd get a motion to table. Does anybody?
I'll make a motion to table.
Got a motion by Tasha, second by Gerald. All in favor? Motion carries. Item number 16, consider approval of resolution of board regarding closure due to COVID-19. I believe we've got to read the resolution. You want to?
Yes, sir. So the resolution, and this is one that we've done before in similar situations, whereas the board acknowledges that the district experienced an emergency school closing for January 13th and January 14th of 22 in response to COVID-19 positive cases, and whereas the board finds that a need exists to close the district for normal business operations due to COVID-19 positive cases causing staff shortages, and whereas the board finds that there are not enough substitute teachers to cover for teachers who are absent due to COVID-19, and whereas the board recognizes that employees may suffer a loss of pay if the district is closed due to no fault of the employees, and whereas the board recognizes that employees have been working under unprecedented conditions caused by COVID-19, and whereas the board finds that a need exists to address wage payments for employees who are willing to work but are instructed to stay home due to the district closing as a result of COVID-19, whereas the board concludes that continuing wage payments to all regular employees, contractual and non-contractual, salaried and non-salaried, during the COVID-19 closure serves the public purposes of maintaining morale, reducing turnover, and ensuring continuity of district staffing when the schools resume full operations. Therefore, be it resolved that the board authorizes the continued wage payment to all regular employees, including non-exempt employees, during the district's closure resulting from the number of COVID-19 positive cases and the shortage of available employees.
like to make a motion? Got a motion by Greg, second by Gerald, and, all in favor? Motion carries. Item number 17, consider approval of response to charter school statement of impact for expansion amendments.
We,
Go ahead.
yes, sir. We periodically get these things, and with the growth that we are experiencing and are about to experience, we have to understand that these things are probably going to be more and more on the horizon. This particular one right here is a school that's going to be located, a charter school. It's going to be located in Fort Worth. And so what we're charged with doing is responding then to TEA with how we expect that this is going to impact our district, if any at all. And so it just says Fort Worth. I don't know if that's North Fort Worth, if it's South Fort Worth, but bottom line is what we want to, what I would suggest we do is that we respond with, yes, that this does have the potential to impact our school district in terms of enrollment.
All right, thank you. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we disapprove of the response charter school statement of impact for expansion amendment.
Okay, I got a motion to disapprove. I got a second? Disapprove. Disapprove, yes, sir.
Second.
I got a second by Gerald. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, let's see, we're not gonna need to go into executive session, so we're gonna skip item 18 and 19. Going to item number 20, we're gonna table this one for the next regular meeting. And if I could have a motion to table.
I'll make a motion to table the
Okay.
superintendent.
I got a motion by Katie,
Second.
second by Gerald. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay. Moving on to item number 21, consider approval of matters related to personnel. Well, I'm sorry, we don't even need to do item number 21, since we do not have anything that need to approve. I apologize. Let's go to item number 22, reports. Are there any reports that you want to?
Just wanted to bring the board up to date. We had, it was 43 staff out today. I believe their number was total. We have, our numbers came back not a whole lot different than what we ended up with before we stopped. We do expect to have a lot of folks, some of our folks back later in the week as far as our people who've been out with COVID. So as we see the numbers just beginning to sort of peak out and start to trend down generally in the area, we expect ours will eventually do that as well. So hopefully we'll see the light at the end of this tunnel.
So we've been able to cover all the classrooms with this many?
Well, sir, our principals have been extremely creative. It's not only classrooms, it's auxiliary, and you know, our cafeteria and all of our positions. Is it the way we'd like to do it? No, sir. But our teachers and our aides and, well, everybody, it's all hands on deck. Anyway, they're just doing a fantastic job. Our students are going to be better off here than they are just staying at home as far as their instruction is concerned. But we do look forward to the time when we have our staff mostly back. Do y'all want to add anything to that?
All right. Are there any other reports you want to, I mean, I know Mr. Hollis is not here, so.
I don't have anything to add to mine. I will say that Daniel and I did do a little happy dance when we got this notification.
Yeah.
Technology
Great. Okay.
Athletic director was planning on bringing a fall or a report of fall sports tonight, but he was not able to make it as well. So we'll defer that to February.
Okay. Does anybody have any other, questions or any other inquiries on the reports, or you got?
Yeah, I guess mine's not on reports. I was gonna ask Mr. Hollis, we talked about at the ag facility down there, there seems to be being a lot of trouble, and maybe they're not even being able to use the plasma. Just wondering where we're at on trying to do something. If we're gonna have that thing, it needs to be usable for these kids, or I think it's been a lot of trouble really since we got it. So we may need to be maybe somehow thinking about getting them something different.
I don't know what the most recent difficulty is, but you're right. It, for a long time, it was in the beginning. I don't know what the recent status is of it, but I'll find out.
Okay.
Judge Hollis and I had a lengthy conversation about that, and it's, software. It's not the mechanical operation of the machine. It's something in the software, and he is in touch with the folks. I don't know what, if anything, has been resolved.
Okay.
Mr. Hopper, may I interject?
Please.
We've worked on that numerous times to try to get that software to work. I've got one of the guys that I have knows exactly what that thing is all about and knows exactly how to use it. And even, I don't know if you know Cameron Steele, he's probably one of the smartest people I know. And he's been working on that for quite a while and hasn't been able to get any headway with it. So when we talked with Hollis, he said he was going to get in touch with the actual company to see if they could get somebody out there. That's the last that I've heard.
It just looks like to me that it's a problem. You know, if we haven't been able to resolve something on that by now, I don't know that we're going to, and the kids are losing out a lot on it.
Yeah, we need to either fix it or replace it.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, hopefully get some more follow-up and get all your answers. Okay. Well, any other questions on reports? If not, we'll go to item number 23. Does anybody need any additional information? Our next regular meeting is, well, I should say our next scheduled meeting is January 25th, special meeting. And our next regular meeting is February 21st, 2022. Let's see. And before everybody leaves, we do have a few things everybody needs to sign, so everybody could come by and see Tasha. The 25th, 7?
7 o'clock.
I just want to say thank you all for everything that y'all gave us. That was very kind, and y'all did not have to do that.
Thank you very
So
much.
thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to hide it from the family, but thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Don't y'all have a song to sing or a dance or something?
Oh,
Well,
Next time,
we're
next
going to item number 24 and adjournment at 8:02. Thank y'all.